Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. Well, an unbalanced rack, only one vowel. Do I change or do I play? Well, if I play, I've got wend, and I have an S for going on the end, and it's 16 points. I think that is better than changing. But only just. If I kept ENST, then what would be left would be good, but I am going with this. Wow, all vowel pickup. Through an R, I would have goitrous. What else is available? Through A and R, autogyros. No scoring tiles on the rack, so I'm probably not going to score very much. Great, a B next to a double letter square, so I should get some value from that. So, can I get rid of O and U? Not easy. What I do have is outgo, which totally sorts the rack out at the expense of a very low score, but I'm not going to score very much with this rack anyway. An alternative would be Ubit, keeping Goz, 14 points. Yeah, I think this is slightly better. 6 more points. IST versus GOS. Actually, I'm not convinced by that. I'm going back to outgo for 8. Fantastic. This looks jolly bingo-y. I have artisan, anti-Rs, and Tsarina. I don't think outgo takes an S, but some of those plays do currently play in rows G and, well, in row G. None of my vowels go under W, so I have artisan in row G, and all of my bingos play in row E, apart from Tsarina. So, what else do I have? Do I have anything beginning with E? Wow, 39 points for opponent. They've got off to a good start. I've still got artisan in row G. Slightly reluctant to play that because it takes a B and a P in front. I do have an I for going under the Q, but none of my bingos fit there. So anything beginning with E. C-train, resonata, santeria, artesian. No, I don't think there is. Nothing great from W, N and D in terms of score, which would make it preferable to artisan. What about a play through the O? No, and what about a play through the B, bartisan? I don't think that has an anagram. Well, I am grateful that I have one bingo. I have Tsarina one square to the left, and anti-Rs doesn't play, so I'm going with this. And I do have a P for going in front of it. I don't think I have a bingo with this rack. Well, not a 7. R and T look useful floaters, but not immediately seeing anything. I have some nice options in column 12. Wow, nice bingo for opponents, 66 points. So I have Pitaka, I think that's how you spell it, down here for 43, decent rack leave. Wow, setting up a hot X spot. But yes, I'm going with this. And it's not good. Okay, what am I thinking about? Pitaka isn't good. Well, I do want to play the P here, I think. So I could play Patma for 37. What other options do I have? Could there be an anagram of Pitaka which plays? So I have Capita for 40, which uses the same tiles as Pitaka and doesn't, well, it does have the super hot export, but I am going with this. Wow, nice rack. Through an A or a T, I would have Mazel Tov. Neither available, what a shame. And opponent provides 3 floaters, but not the 2 I was looking for. So, what to do with this rack? I would have Volumize. I do have Volumize through the eye. Wow. So, there is a bingo here. That doesn't get doubled, and it doesn't have an anagram. Not seeing anything with the O. RRTA? Possibly, but there can't be very many VZ words. So Volumize for 73. And I draw the second blank. That is fortunate. The rest of the rack pretty junky. So I could well consider changing here or taking out a super hot spot. But I would want to sort the rack out to some extent if I do that. And I'm not seeing anything. So, do I have any way of sticking an O or an A under the Z? Well, I sort of do with Odar. Only plays 2 tiles, but it's 23 points. Probably better than changing. Has opponent provided any other options? I don't think so. What about playing in column 12? No. Z takes an O as well. Only 2 O's to come, so I may dodge drawing one. I am going with Odar for 23. Pretty good. That looks close to a bingo. Do I have one? Annoyingly, the floater from Outgo is the O, which isn't helpful with this rack. And Terraire has taken out all of the floaters in both itself and Partisan. So what we have is N and D available. Now, what would Patuti need? It would need a T or an I. Okay, well, neither of those is available. And there could well be a 9-letter play through the R's and TA, but quite tricky to find. So let me come back to the easier ones. N and D, I have Neo as a prefix. Not seeing anything there. I lead. Wow, wasn't expecting that. I thought opponent had zoomed. And what about the D? Gosh, door plate is a 9 if there were an L as well, and an extra row on the board. Now, OR takes a D and an E, so there is a 7-letter lane in row J. Let me see if I can see a 7. I feel that there could be one here. Not seeing anything so far. Omo plate through an M. No, still nothing. Wow, such bingo-y tiles. That would be Patuti. That's the out prefix, but it doesn't give me anything. Interesting. I would have Patui as a 6-letter play, but I don't want to burn the blank so cheaply. So I'm not seeing anything as a 7. I'm not seeing anything down from N and D. And, well, nice score for opponent. Doesn't provide floaters for me. So what was I considering? T and A. Doesn't look good. What about R and R? Well, I don't see anything, but what if it begins like this? Pro. Or what if it begins like this? Perorate. It's this extra O, which is problematic. So I'm not seeing anything. So how to sort the rack out? Just playing off the O's would help a lot. And I could do that here. Only 12 points, but the rack leave is very strong indeed. Although the lack of bingo lanes counts against it. I may have a bingo and nowhere to play it. This X spot remains available. I don't think I can take that out and leave a decent rack leave. Is this the best I can do with 2 O's? Yeah, I think it is. I am going with this. So I have uptakes and take-ups. Neither plays in row J. Capita takes an L and an N, which doesn't assist. Now, what about outspeak? I think that's good and plays down from the O. Just wondering also about outspake, which would be better because it doesn't take a hook. Not sure about that. Reuptake is good with through an R or an E. What about N and D? They're not particularly good floaters. Certainly not the N as an initial letter. So I have outspeak. That remains available. Fantastic. 30 points for opponent. That's a bit annoying. And, well, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. I'm close to a bingo, although I don't think I have one. But scoring tiles and the opportunity of leaving a decent rack leave, and I've got a little bit of daylight between myself and opponent. But this X spot could extinguish that. Is now the time to take it out? Well, I can't take it out with the F. So it would need to be the M, but I want to play the F because that is the non-bingo-y tile. I have oof in column 12, where opponent has just played. And Jag takes a G, they've all gone, and an S, 2 to come. Wow, only 22 points. Opponent could have a G, an S rather. Now, well, I could play foot, but I would quite like to play off F and M. Do I have anything in row A? Both of those tiles go in front of the E. Not seeing anything beginning with those letters. No. So I can see foot here for 28. Decent score, decent rack leave. Doesn't interfere with opponent's 7-letter S bingo. But remaining tiles not massively bingo-y. I've got an E for going next to oboe, but there are tons of E's and L's to come, so I could easily be setting up a hot 3-letter spot. So that's 28. What can I do that's better? Where can the F play? Opponent's taken out the spot I had in mind for it. Can't really score well off the J. Can't score well through the G. I am going to go with this, because if opponent doesn't have an S bingo, then at least it gives me an opportunity of taking out that lane next turn, because I have an E for going next to the T. Wow, pretty good. That looks close to a bingo. Do I have anything beginning with D? It looks close. Phew. No bingo, only 43, so I still lead by half a bingo. 8 tiles in the bag. Just wondering about taking out this X spot. Very strong chance with opponent drawing 6 that he's got the X. But before I do that, do I have a bingo? Not too many lanes to consider. Jags has taken out this E. So there's a 7-letter lane in row J. Do I have a 7-letter bingo? I don't think I do. Do I have anything beginning with D? Close to determine and detriment, but they're both 9s. So I don't think I do. N looks pretty hopeless. No 7 beginning with N. What about T and A? No. So what about playing at the top of the board? I've still got in mind this X spot to block. Well, why don't I do that? I can play... Well, I can stop here, or I could stick a T on the end, but this is quite a nice 4-letter set. If I stick a T on the end, if opponent's got an S, there's a double-double lane. But even if he hasn't got an S, IT... Well, IT only takes an S, but this is the T does help this rack, and there are no more T's to come, and T goes on the end of Re and An, so I think I will hold on to it. It was only going to make a 3-point difference. I'm going with this. So I do have a bunch of 7s. I have Rentier. I have Terrine, which plays. Wow. Will that stay available? If opponent's got an S, he may stick it on the end of Outspeak. Only 5 tiles in the bag. Will row K remain available? Wow. What an opportunity to seal the win. And it remains available. Fantastic. So I have Rentier, Terrine, Reinter, and Inerta. Oh wow, look at this. Inerta plays for 75. Am I setting up a super hot X spot? I'm not. So I'm going with this, and I draw the X. And I lead by 100 points, and the bag is empty. Opponent is not bingoing with 3 I's and an F, so the game is won. Now, how to play well in the end game. Always hard to maximise your score, especially when you know the game is won. My W can go under Ain, but I almost certainly want to get rid of the X. Well, do I? Is opponent going out with double I? How long have I got? 8 minutes on my clock. Iwi is good. One of the W's is on my rack. Where's the other? Well, that's not available. It was the first tile to be played. So is opponent going out with 2 I's? He probably played Frise for score. I'm not seeing any 2 I spots, so I don't... Well, I'm not going out in 1 anyway. But it would mean I wouldn't have to play the X immediately. Although there's always the possibility opponent spotted something one hasn't. Now, 7 minutes on my clock. What am I going to do? If I hang on to the W, then I'll have a new. So is there somewhere to play Lex? Surely. Lex or Ilex? Gosh, I am struggling to find a Lex spot. O-box not good, alas. Well, what about playing Dex? That's 27 points, that's pretty solid. And Lou is good, so I do at the moment have a couple of spots for that. And even if they're blocked, I do at least have a new. So Dex for 27. Is there somewhere better for my X? 6 minutes on my clock. So I have EX. Is there anywhere great for that? No, I'm scanning the board. I've scanned it many times. Nothing has leaped out at me. I'm going with this. So at the moment I have Lou in 2 spots and nothing else. And I have a new if that's blocked. But has opponent spotted an out with double I? Actually, opponent can't block LEW with just 2 I's. He can play SI, but the bottom E remains available. So normally you have to look for 2 outs, because opponent may block one, but these 2 outs, although they're next to each other, aren't capable of both being blocked. And opponent plays a solitary I, and that means I have Lou to end the game. And the final score, 378 for my opponent, 481 for me, a winning margin of 103 points, so a huge, huge win. Let's see what I missed. Wow, what a game. I felt I got off to a slow start and opponent was playing well, but I ended up leading in the middle and getting further ahead towards the end. So it was me to go first. And I played Wend. I could have put an S on the end for an extra 10 points, but the S is worth 8 to 10. So I'm happy with my play. Opponent plays the Beths. And G3. Interesting, that's in a different spot for more points, but burns the T. And it also sets up loads of options for opponents, so I like my play. Nice play by opponent for 39 points, but look at this, A12. Opponent could have played key and buy for 66. Now, great rack for me. Tsarina, F1. Interesting, underneath key, and although that is putting a T in the middle of column 1, I think the extra points mean it's worthwhile. So I play Artisan for 67, and a few other bingos available. Now, this was fantastic spot by opponent of Terraire, and opponent is leading here. Wow, Campy A8 onto the Y. Gosh, I didn't consider that lane. 51 points, keeping 3 vowels. Instead, this is interesting. I play Capita for 11 fewer points, but keeping EM. Is EM 11 better than AEI? Probably not, but it can't be far off. EM, I would say, is positive. Not by much, maybe +2. And AEI definitely is negative, but how much? Well, if he starts off at about a half, A might be neutral, but I's got to drag it back a lot. Probably to between -5 and -10. If it's at the -10 end, then I think Capita is an equivalent play, or maybe even better since the rack cleave is nicer. Now, opponent's rack plays Ridgy, and that's great because, well, look at this. I played Volumize because it was the only bingo I saw, but F1, I could have played Azo for only 8 fewer points, hanging on to the blank. So that would have been a much better play. Now, opponent's rack, all vowels, all consonants rather, plays con. I've got a ton of vowels, and C7, ado. That was my play, effectively just switching the A and the O. Now, I have a 40-point lead. Opponent plays the id, and just 13 points between us. Wow, look at this. There were bingos through the double R, perorator, and prorogate. Well, I don't think I knew either of those, but a missed bingo nonetheless, and I play oo for 12. Gosh, opponent really struggling with consonants. Plays a bye. And now, wow, look at that. Outspeak is the only bingo, and outspake is not good. There certainly is a something spake word which is, but it's not outspake. So I've now got a bingo's lead, but opponent is a long way from a bingo. Let's just go back. Played jag with both S's, so not only did opponent have an S to go on the end, opponent knew that I didn't have one. So B14, boy Fizzgood, so I could have played Mofo for 35, that would have been better than my play of foot for 28. But foot is up towards the top. Nice play by opponent, Velas for 43, so only half a bingo between us. No bingo here despite the rack, and I play Amen to take out the X danger, and it also keeps a decent rack lead. Opponent with 3 eyes plays an H. Wow, okay, interesting choice. And I have a bingo with Inerta and a few others. And a 110-point lead with the bag empty. Opponent plays Frise. I play Dex. Opponent's got Fix. And finally Lou for 6 in 2 spots. Those are the only outs. So what a game. Absolutely tremendous fun. I thought it was going to be either a win for opponent or a pretty dour battle, but despite a slow start, I managed to claw my way back into the game, get level with opponent, and then draw ahead, and it just moved smoothly throughout the game, and by the end I was guaranteed the win with still some moves to go. So all good fun. Many thanks to opponent for a good battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.